From the News Channel 5 network, this is Pharmacist on Call.
Good evening, Nashville, Middle Tennessee, Southern Kentucky, those of you as far west as Jackson, those of you as far east as McMinnville. Welcome to Pharmacist on Call with your host, Dr. Sean Pruitt, and if you're watching this show, I am your community pharmacist. So everyone, Happy New Year, and welcome to the first show of 2020. That's right, the first show of this decade. This is your 1 hour forum where you get to ask those burning questions that you've always had, and you just haven't had time because, quite frankly, your doctors and your pharmacists are busy. They don't have time. But for this 1 hour, I do. So call in with those questions and those comments. We're going to start the new year off like we usually do, letting you know that we are here for you. And we're going to start with some birthday shout outs and condolences. So first wanted to send a happy birthday shout out to my firstborn, Miss Shauna Lanier Pruitt, who will be turning a sweet 16 on Saturday. So happy birthday, buddy. And the day after her, Chelsea, her first cousin, Chelsea Sinclair Thomas, she'll be turning 20 something I guess it'd be this Sunday. So happy birthday, Chelsea. Also wanted to wish my mother, she will be turning something on January the 29th. We won't give her age, but frequent caller, so you all wish her happy birthday. And then actually my ex-wife Valeria, she has a birthday coming up this month as well. I did want to do some condolences. First off, I wanted to extend my condolences to the family of a longtime friend of the pharmacy, probably about as long as we had been there, Mr. George Trineri, who transitioned, I believe, Christmas week. So sorry to see him go, and Miss Vicky wanted to send our thoughts and prayers out to you. Also want to extend our condolences to the family of Miss Gina Young, to Boo and Ronnie, her husband and her son. Gina was a technician of mine back in my Walgreens days, probably a long time ago, and she transitioned in November. She was my senior technician when I was at Walgreens on Clarksville Highway, the overnight pharmacist there many, many years ago. So I got news when her son came and told me last week. So really sorry to see Miss Gina go, a true sweetheart. And for those of you who love her out there in Walgreens land, I extend my condolences to you as well. All right, everyone. So this is your 1 hour forum. This is where you get to call in with those questions and those comments. If this is your first time viewing, for those of you who are viewing through Facebook nationwide, I've extended the show to viewers so that they get the same opportunity we do here in Middle Tennessee to get their questions answered. And many of them have chimed in. So for those of you who are, from everywhere, from Cali to Florida, even Alaska, we have people who are watching the show. So don't be shy about calling in. The phone number for you is 615-737-7587 if you want to call in. So for those of you who are viewing via Facebook, take this down again, 615-737-7587. And while I'm speaking of that, some of you had sent in questions that I hadn't answered, so I told you that I would answer on air during this show. So I wanted to get into a couple of those right quick before the phone lines start opening up here. So the first question came from Miss Shawn Harper, and I forgot where she was from, but she sent in a question about Metformin and the FDA investigating the drug recall. And so what happened with that is the FDA noticed that there had been, as you all noticed, drugs like losartan and drugs like Zantac, which is ranitidine, had found trace amounts of a contaminant called NDMA, which is known to linked to cancer. So the FDA decided to start investigating whether if Metformin had this same contaminant in it. So they're looking at it. They have not issued an official recall, and so far they have not found enough of the NDMA, which is nitrosyl dimethylamine, something to that effect. But it's pretty much rocket fuel. It's something that's used to make rocket fuel. All right, so they have not found that. So Ms. Harper, I hope you're watching. Continue to take your Metformin. And so for those of you who also happen to see this news blurb about the FDA investigating Metformin, continue to take your medication until we hear otherwise. I think that what they're looking for is at least 96 nanograms of this stuff. So far, they have not found that amount in the medication. So those of you on Metformin, continue to take your medication, or good old beetroot juice to deal with your blood sugar. We had another question here. Miss Crystal Terrell, and not sure where she hails from, but she said, hey, are there any alternatives for blood pressure medicine, something that you can recommend to me naturally? She wants to go homeopathic. And there were about three supplements that come to mind. First of all, we've got beetroot juice here. And beetroot juice is high in organic nitrates. So what it does, it opens up the blood vessels and allows the blood to flow through more smoothly, because what happens in hypertension, your vessels are constricted and it's really hard for the heart to push through all of that blood. So what has to happen is you take something like beetroot juice, it relaxes those vessels, and the heart is now able to relax because it does not have to push as hard to get the blood through to all your organs and through the periphery of your body. So that's at the top of our list. And this one came to us, I had a lot of truck drivers come in trying to get their DOT cards, and they were still failing, even though they were on medication. So I started putting them on this, just one shot before their DOT physical, and they all passed. So word started spreading pretty quickly about this stuff. So great for getting your blood pressure down quickly. It usually does it in 30 minutes to an hour, so it gets your blood pressure down pretty quickly. The second thing that we recommend for blood pressure is, it's kind of an offshoot of this, but it's L-Arginine, which is also an amino acid. So kind of along the same lines. It's actually a workout supplement. I use it myself. So I recommend L-Arginine. We'll get into the other two here because it looks like we've got our first call. Janice, welcome to Pharmacist on Call. I may help you. Hello, Janice.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am. How you doing?
Oh, I'm great. I just want to ask something because I had heard about this. It's melatonin.
Yes, ma'am.
I used to take it a lot to help me to sleep.
Yes, ma'am.
Sounded like I was hooked on it, but then I heard that it was causing like early Alzheimer's and brain fog. So I stopped taking it, and after I stopped taking it, now I sleep like a baby. So is it true that melatonin can push you into Alzheimer's or a cause of Alzheimer's?
Cause Alzheimer's? I'm not sure. I have not heard that, but let me research that. That doesn't mean that it's not true. I just hadn't heard that. But yeah, melatonin, everyone, is your hormone that regulates your circadian rhythm, which is your sleep-wake cycle. And so it's the thing that lets you know when it gets dark to start getting sleepy, and when it gets light for you to wake on up. So if she's telling me that, that makes me think it has some sort of effect on dopamine in the brain. So let me investigate that, ma'am, and we'll check into that for you, Janice.
Marvelous. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Have a good year.
All right.
God bless you.
All right. Bless you, too. Thank you. Yeah, pretty good phone call. All right, let's see here. So the second supplement that we were, the third supplement, sorry, so beetroot juice, L-Arginine. The third one is Arjuna bark. And Arjuna bark is, it's from the terminalis species, but we'll get into that because it looks like we have another call here. Lucy, welcome to Pharmacist on Call. I may help you.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am. I may help you. Welcome to Pharmacist on Call.
Dr. Pruitt?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I didn't know if you could hear me. I didn't know if it was a TV or not.
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
And happy birthday to your sweet little mama that calls in. I know she's going to call here.
She is. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
But anyway, I've got a question. I saw this on TV the other day, and I thought about you. Are you a compound pharmacist? Can you compound pharmacy?
Good question. So
And I'll tell you why here in a second.
Okay, so no, we're not a compounding pharmacy. The law has changed. As of this year, requires you to have a $50,000 to $100,000 clean room in order to compound now. So I didn't want to make that type of investment since compounding is not that big of a part of my practice. So no, we do not compound.
Hey, is that due to that lawsuit from where those people up north had compounded that medicine and they put it in people's spines and then had fungus in it or something?
Absolutely. So this arose from the New England Compounding Pharmacy.
Yeah.
And,
well, here's my question. I saw this on TV the other day. You know, I'm not a big fan of Prilosec. I just think it's weird and those kinds of drugs. They have some issues. But I saw this woman on the news. Her doctor prescribed a prescription of half Prilosec, half baking soda. And a 3-month supply, $14,000.
Yes.
And I'm like, that's insane. That's why I was asking you if you compound it. I'm going to hang up, and is there any way you can explain why, I just can't, if it was me, why I couldn't just get, dump half of a Prilosec and scooped over some baking soda and called it a day? I mean, why is it that much, basically, is what I'm asking to do that. That's crazy. I'll hang up and take your comments off the line, Dr. Pruitt.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, all right, thank you. So very good call, Lucy. So what she's talking about, yes, it did arise from the New England compounding pharmacy piece where looks like patients, because the aseptic technique wasn't used, so patients were contaminated. But to speak to her thing about the omeprazole / sodium bicarbonate, the brand name escapes me right now. So what happens is manufacturers are now using combination medications and charging out the wazoo because they basically can, and we should get some sort of price controls. Drug companies, I know you're gonna like it. I know you're not gonna like what I'm saying, but there's absolutely no reason. Baking soda, very cheap. Omeprazole, also fairly inexpensive for them. But what they'll do is put 2 ingredients together, make a brand name medication, have a patent on it for a number of years, and charge whatever the heck they want. So, but what they're trying to do is recoup money from marketing, recoup money from research and development, from their FDA approval and all of that. I mean, could you do that? Could you get baking soda and some omeprazole? I mean, what you do in the privacy of your home is your business. But the issue is laypersons probably can't do that because you're not measuring out the appropriate amount of sodium bicarb, I guess the appropriate amount of omeprazole. But it shouldn't be too hard to do if you just wanted to do that. But no, and I think, yeah, that medication is pretty expensive, but no, there's absolutely no rhyme or reason other than corporate greed. Sorry, Big Pharma, I said it. Okay, so looks like we've got another caller here. Gloria, welcome to Pharmacist on Call. Let me help you.
Yes, thank you. I would like you to answer a question about a pharmaceutical, but I want over-the-counter pharmacy, okay?
Huh?
I have stage 4 renal disease, and I've got a really terrible head cold, infected everything, and there's nothing I can take. Do you have anything you can recommend that's safe to take when you have kidney disease? I've looked up everything I have in the house, and it also don't use renal problems.
Okay, so kidney disease and you've got a cold.
I think it's just a cold, yeah.
Explain to me your symptoms.
Well, I'm very congested. My glands are slightly swollen, no white spots in the throat, no fever.
Okay, are you on fluid?
So I think it's just a cold.
Are you on fluid restriction? Are you on fluid restriction, ma'am?
No, I've been taking a lot of fluid and staying well hydrated. I can't even take vitamin C from what the pharmacy says.
Yeah, so let's...
So I'm sort of at a loss. No Benadryl, no,
Yeah.
no cold medicine. One Tylenol, though, I can take, and my head's killing me.
Yeah, and that's because of the sinus pressure. The Tylenol won't even touch that.
Right.
Now, how bad is the kidney disease, ma'am?
Stage 4.
Stage 4?
Beginning stage 4.
Okay, so are you on dialysis?
No, I'm not yet. Hoping I won't be.
I would think...
I'm trying real hard to follow the diets and everything they say.
Yeah.
So.
I would ask your doctor short term, at least for the 3 or 4 days that this thing is going to last, what you can do. I don't think in the long term, yeah, you're going to run into some trouble, but I think for 3 or 4 days, you should be okay with some of the other medications. Now, you can't take anything that's going to raise your blood pressure like phenylephrine or pseudoephedrine because they're going to tax your kidneys even more.
Yeah, that's my favorite, but
yes.
I didn't take it.
So you may want to look at something like a saline nasal spray. Since you're telling me you're not on fluid restriction or anything, you may have a little retention from the sodium in it, but at least you'll have some relief in your nasal passages.
Yeah, I wondered about the salt in it because I'm not swelling at this point. I have a prescription. I have Lasix if I need it, but so
Okay.
far I've been able to get away without needing it.
Okay. Yeah, that's the only thing is if it's a sinus pressure. So I think the combination of that, along with the Tylenol, then you should be cool, at least for a few days. Now, don't use this long term.
No, sir. All right, I'll give it a try. I know they said I could come into the office, but
I would, yes, ma'am. I think that's a good idea, and let them take a look at you, assess your kidneys like as they are right now, and then they can, you know, recommend something from there.
all right. Well, thank you very much.
Yes.
I appreciate it.
All right, yes, ma'am. Thank you for watching.
Okay, bye-bye.
All righty, bye-bye. All right, everyone, stay right there. We're up on our first break. We'll be right back.